pour plate is another technique that we use in the lab. Ultimately, you will end up with a petri dish with your organism, usually bacteria, growing on it. Now, the difference between a pour plate and a streak plate that you previously done, you are growing the bacteria just on the surface of the agar. In a pour plate, you are going to take your sample, you're going to mix it with basically warm agar that hasn't solidified yet. The timing of this is very critical. You have to start off with the agar very hot so that it's melted, it's not solidified yet, but there's a narrow window when it cools down enough that you can inoculate it with your bacteria so you don't kill the bacteria. So it needs to be cool enough for that, but not cool enough that the agar will solidify. It tends to solidify around 45 degrees Celsius. So you don't want it to solidify too soon. You're ultimately going to literally take that liquid, inoculate it with the bacteria, and then pour it into a petri dish and then let it solidify. The bacteria would be growing because you mixed it in with the solution, with the media. The bacteria can actually grow on the surface, but also within the media. And so maybe organisms that don't like the oxygen concentration quite so high and wouldn't be very happy growing on the surface of the media, they can grow in the media. So once again, it's like many things you're going to find. It just depends on what you're looking for, what type of information you're trying to get. So you can do a pour plate to try to obtain a pure culture. So you may be starting with a mixed culture and you're trying to get pure cultures. Usually in this case, you would be doing a dilution, a serial dilution first, because it's probably going to be too concentrated. So you have to dilute the sample out. You're going to usually be doing several pour plates. As I mentioned, the growth can be on the surface as well as within the medium. Sometimes you do pour plates also to try to determine what is the concentration of the microorganisms. Not necessarily pure culture, but if it's a mixed one, say you have a sample of soil, or you have a water sample, or a food sample, and you want to know how many microorganisms per gram, or maybe you're looking at how many bacteria per milliliter in the water. So this would be an example of when you would do a pour plate. Excuse me. So as I said, you would have your media typically in a test tube. You would keep it, it's sterile media. So you've already autoclaved it, you already sterilized it. You typically will keep it at temperature, at a hot temperature, so it remains liquid in a water bath, a hot water bath. When you are ready to do this, you take it out of the water bath, and that's where I was saying it gets tricky. Let it cool enough so you can inoculate it, and then you immediately pour it into a sterile petri dish. So as you can see, I'm holding the lid open, I'm just pouring the liquid in, and then once all the media has been poured in, I will close the dish, swirl it around a bit so it evenly covers the bottom of the petri dish. And you let it solidify. So that's all there is to the pour plate.